Hey guys, before I start this video, I just want to say that even if you don't have Photoshop, you can still follow along with this tutorial. There's a download link in the description for a program called GIMP. I wouldn't recommend this program for general art. It's a bit of a photo manipulation software. For art, see my previous video, the dodge and burn tutorial, for a program called Krita. But for today's lesson, GIMP is going to help you out a lot. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the video. What is up guys, GavBomb1 here, and today we're going to be back with another Photoshop tutorial. That's right, you weren't expecting that. Yes you were. No you weren't. Yes you were. We're going to do selections today because I thought that needed to be talked about the most, because a lot of people don't know how to make super good selections in certain situations. Alright, some people don't know how to select at all. Some people don't know how to select if everything is the same hue, just different saturations. And then other people don't know how to select complex shapes. And I'm sure looking at some of these, they don't exactly make sense right away. My creative thought process might be a little different from yours, but I'll walk you through the way that I think. Okay, so we're going to start off with a new one. Okay, we're going to go 1920 by 1080. The resolution, set that to 300 if you want to print this out and show mommy what you did. Be a little impressive. Alright, we're going to do the first thing. So we're going to start off with a basic rectangle square-like shape. Let's fill it with some nice red. With red as the background color, control backspace. Alright? And then you just grab your paint bucket. And then we're gonna control shift I. That inverts the selection. And then you're just gonna paint the background. Actually no, this is too easy. What if we have a blue background? Paint bucket, bam. Alright, then we're gonna go whoop whoop, deselect. So what do you do here? What if we're trying to select any of this, okay? Here's what we're gonna start off with. Go to channels, okay? Now what do you want to select? Are you trying to select the cube or the background? If you're trying to select the cube, you go over here to the red channel, hold down control, and click the thumbnail. This is the thumbnail. Alright, and you got your red square selected. You could do little drawings in there, like freaking a little ween. Just come in here. Yeah, this is a real weird ween. If your ween looks like this, by the way, you have cancer. Go here, and then just whoop. Yeah, you get the idea, okay? But then what do we do for the... But then what do we do with the background? Well, we go back, Control Shift I. Alright, because you're thinking, yeah, but can't select the channels because if you look over here, the red shows up here, man, but the blue gets the testicular cancer as well. Well, little fag, let me walk you through this process. Control Shift I. Now you're in your background and you can draw in here, and it doesn't affect any of this. None of this is affected, alright? This is what you do. I went over this a brief amount in my dodge and burn video. This is exactly how it works. You select something, you can only draw in the selection. If you invert the selection, you can only draw in the new selection, alright? You see? We're gonna get rid of this guy right here. This right here is pretty basic and easy. But what do you do when you got two of the exact same hues? Okay, we're gonna go paint bucket, create new layer. And then in this layer, we're gonna make a different green color. We're gonna go maybe like darker green, yes. And then we just, yep, right here. Right, just like this, yep, real nice. Okay, this right here is what some people would call abstract art. I call it retarded. What do you call it? I don't care, your opinion doesn't matter to me. So we go over here to channels. Let's click green, guys. Oh, fuck, we got the whole thing. What do we do? Well, let me show you. We have selection tools for that. Right here. We have the quick selection tool and the magic wand tool. The magic wand tool is pretty great. It can make out basic shapes, alright? So if you're ever trying to select hair, if it's a picture of somebody, then this is perfect to do. Look at that. It gets all the right parts, and it cuts out the smaller parts. But then, when we zoom in, Control plus to zoom in, by the way, if you look, it actually did a pretty decent job of the other stuff. If you're trying to totally get rid of these, then I recommend the quick selection tool. Right here, you click this little minus. And when you click that, what you can do is take away from your selection. Right here, like this. And then look, see the green? All we do is we refine our selection a little bit. Alright? And if this isn't working for you, try making it smaller. See how right here, this is a harsh edge? Watch this. Oh, fucked it up a little bit. But that's okay, you know why? Because then we can go plus. You know why we go plus? To refine further. Alright, I'm obviously not doing a very good job, but you get the point of my thing. And then if you're like, but Gav, why would I use plus if, like, what does this one do right here? Is this one just completely useless? Let me show you what this one does, okay? We're going to deselect it. We're going to go here. Make the size a little bigger. What this does is it selects a very specific path. Alright? So, and then you can use the plus sign to get the rest of this. See that? It's pretty nice. So these tools I would strongly recommend for hair and stuff. This one right here, the lasso tool, is also pretty special. I didn't actually plan this one out, so I can kind of just do it right off the top of my head. Let me see. Resolution, 300 pixels per inch. Create. Alright, so what do we want to do? Let's make a series of red mountains. Why are we doing that? Because we're retarded, duh. Alright, I'm not going to make good mountains. Let's just do spikes and column mountains, just like that. Alright, then we're going to go paint bucket, bloop, 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 bloop. Say you like the shape of some of these mountains here, and you want it to be a little different. Say you want to put another mountain in the background, okay? This is what you would use your lasso tool for. You don't have to make a super refined shape because you can just make it look like there's other mountains in the picture, right? So you go right there, just like that. Just like this, go up, and then boom. Now what do? If we have a selection and we're trying to duplicate just the selection, we press Control J, and it puts it in a new layer. I don't know why I created layer 2. I'm retarded. Excuse me. So here we do this. We select that. We understand exactly where it is, even though it's the exact same part of the original drawing. Alright? Do not auto-select the layer. If you auto-select the layer when you're doing this, it makes it really hard. So click layer 3 so that it knows what you're doing. If you don't click on that, let's go auto-select layer, and then, oh, we have layer 3 selected. Since layer 3 is selected, that means we'll for sure move layer 3. Ah! You're retarded. Put it back. Layer 3 right here. Do not auto-select. Don't. And just move it, okay? Now we got our background here. Let's see, where do we want them? How about right there? Maybe we look, yeah, just like this. But then, how do we make it look a little more realistic? Let's hide layer 1. Paint bucket. Make it a slightly darker color. Put it there. Turn it on. Whoa, it's so realistic, man! The red mountains in the background are darker. Whoa, that's fucking crazy. I know, right? So practice with that. And then over here, this one is kind of the most practical one that you're going to be using if you're a YouTuber and this is how you make thumbnails. This is how I'd recommend doing it. What we're going to do here is we're going to use the pen tool. Maybe you hand drew this and you used a hard brush and it makes like these weird circular like edges that just looks like it's made out of cookie dough and people pinched it with their fingers. Say we want to straighten the selection without ruining it. We use the pen tool, okay? And the pen tool is probably the most complex way to do this, but it gives you the most freedom in your selection. So let's start off with an anchor point, all right? Let's put it really close to the outside, but not the inside. Actually, let's zoom in quite a bit, all right? Let's zoom in just so much. Back the fuck up! You zoom too much. Zoom out. You don't want it to pixelate like that because that makes your selection real weird like, all right? So go in as far as you can without it pixelating like that, and click any old thing. Let's click here, all right? We want our selection to go here, all right? That's not how it works, dummy. Look at this right here. You see this? All right, let's say our selection. Yeah, let's just finish her off. All right. Freaking selection. Yeah, let's just delete that. Let's remove that one part. Now, why is the edge so harsh? Let me explain it. We're going to go over here, quick select, deselect. Actually, no. Let's go back in our history. New work path. All right. How do we make the line curved? Well, there's a couple ways to do that. There's either make tiny little incremental lines. Some people like to do this because it allows for more customization. I think it's easier to click where you, at the end of the curve, and then drag. Like hold down on the left mouse button and just drag. Okay? And mess around with it until you got it to the shape that you like it. Right there is about perfect. Now let's create another point here. Wait, it's all curved like this. Do you want to know how to make it not curved like that? Of course you do. Hold down Alt. Once you see when the mouse right here turns into like an upside down vagina shape, click. And then what you do is hold down Control, and you can move this around and it doesn't affect the rest of this line. Okay, what happens if you try to drag this around again? Like hold Control but don't press Alt first? It alters the line. You don't want that. Control Z to undo. Hold Alt. I clicked the wrong tool, my bad. Hold Alt. Click. Move. Alright, and you want to move it where your next point's going to be. So like, right here's pretty alright. How about it? Now let's try it. Let's just follow the curvature of this line and click there. You got yourself a good looking line. Hold up. I forgot to mention one thing. If you make it straight line and you know it's perfect, but like you don't think you'll click that exact right pixel again, what you want to do, click in the line where you need it to bend, and then just drag it out from there. And then you can adjust that with these the same way you would another curve. Oh, whoop! Alright, these little weirdo lines, let's click them. Let's move them. Yeah, just like that. This actually makes for some pretty interesting lines. You can make some nice little curvy things. If there's a real harsh shape, alright, like so see here. Say you're selecting a nose. This exactly right here is what you want to do. You want to draw like a straight line and then bend it in the middle. Click the bottom of the nose and then just bend it outwards. And then the selection will be here and the mouth will be here. And then you just create another anchor point and move that. Just like that. It's magical. Hey guys, real quick, I forgot to mention earlier, you always want to stay on the inside just a little bit. If you go too far outside, it'll end up making it worse. So like, if you're selecting a person, if you're selecting yourself, okay, this is for the YouTubers out there making their thumbnails. If you're putting yourself in your thumbnail and you're trying to select your face, don't go outside because you'll get your background and it'll kind of ruin the thumbnail. You want to go slightly inside. If you go like way too far inside, obviously you'll cut like noses and eyeballs and hands off and stuff. Go slightly on the inside. Alright guys, so once we got our path selected, right click, make selection. 0 feather, you don't need any of that. Alright, now what happens when we zoom out? How nice is it? It's pretty nice. As you can see, I thought the mouth didn't fit the head at all, so I altered the selection a little bit. He's still gonna look retarded, but you know. And then how do we remove the extra cutout stuff? Well, go back to our Control-Shift-I and then delete it. There you go. Any selection tool, deselect. Say you want to change something particular about him. Say like you want to change his skin and his tongue color. Let me show you how you do that. Use a mix of everything, alright? So say we want our blue. Let's click the blue channel. Alright, and it'll also select the white and leave out the black. So what we're going to do is use a combination of every single tool that we've used so far. So quick selection, minus. How about we get rid of the teeth? We don't plan on changing the teeth color. We just want to change the tongue and skin. So boom, boom, boom. And then plus here. Just like that. But then the tongue's not selected. How do we select the tongue without selecting the rest of the mouth? It's all kind of red. Channels isn't going to work. Why don't we use quick selection? Just be very careful with the quick selection. It does work the same way as the brush where it has hard edges. So if your circle touches the inside of the mouth, it's going to get the whole inside of the mouth. Alright, so how do we change this part now? Well, we click here, this little circle here, and we go Hue Saturation. And what that does when we have it selected and then click this is it creates a mask. So anything we change is not going to affect anything other than the selected area. Now go over to here to the Hue slider, Saturation, Lightness. What does the Lightness slider do? It brightens those areas or darkens them. Alright, so let's bring that back to 0. Saturation, it's the punch of the color, how bright it is. So if it's not super saturated, it'll look kind of gray and bleak, which actually looks pretty nice if you're going for like a gray look. I personally like this for certain paintings. I think it goes real well with some of them. But say you don't want that. Say you want a super punch, alright? Say you want it more than this, alright? Like normal is here. Maybe you want it here. I don't know. So let's go 0. And let me tell you something. Sometimes you'll notice that when you're doing this, it doesn't actually have any effect. That's if your colors already have max saturation. The colors will be like that. So let's go over here to layer 1. Let's go here. Slightly desaturated. Alright, paint bucket, we'll paint the blue part only. Okay, now the blue is that color. So in hue and saturation, if we decide to boost the saturation of the entire image, since everything else is already at max saturation, the only thing being affected is the blue. So we'll put it to plus 100. Now look at here, you got a max saturated blue, even though that wasn't your original color. So that's pretty useful. But what do we do when we want to change the entire color? We take the hue slide and change it. If you give blue a yellow hue, it makes it green. You already knew that. If you give blue a purple, it makes it red. Alright, so that's kind of how it works. Play around with the slider and get used to it. Let's make it real wacky. Green with a blue tongue? I think so. He looks all goofy and shit. Alright, now we're going to go here. Boom. Boom. No, you know what? New layer for this. New layer. Whoop. And the cool thing about having this mask is it really does only affect this area, but if you really want to like double down and make sure you don't screw anything else up later on, hold Alt and put your mouse right in between the layers. And when you see this little box with the arrow down logo, click on it. So it'll make it so this mask, the hue saturation layer, only affects layer 1. Alright, now let's have a little fun. This is our art, right? We can do whatever we want. Let's go. Oval shape. Click X on to change the slider. Make white your background color. Control backspace. Alright. And then we're going to go here to the pen tool. We're going to go Womp, Womp, Womp. Close path. Okay, make selection. 0 feather radius. Control backspace. Selection tool, deselect, movement. Let's have another little fun, alright? This is a mini lesson. I'll probably make a full video on this someday, but if you want to do like basic stuff, how do you make your images pop a little more? This helps again for the thumbnail people. I'm going to dedicate this episode to you guys, small YouTubers just starting out. Right here, this is how you do it. Let's add an effect to it. Let's do a drop shadow. Now, if you're on GIMP, what you want to do is duplicate the layer. Actually, fuck it, I'll just show you right now. Hold on. So we're going to duplicate the layer, Control J. Because you can't add effects the same way you can here. Make sure it's the copy layer, black. Or any other color you want to use for your outline. But black, I think, works the best. Boom. Now what do? We move the copy below the original layer. And then we make the copy, Control T to transform it. Hold Shift and Alt. And then you just make it a little bigger. It gives it a little outline. Enter. I think that looks pretty nice. But if you're on Photoshop and you have access to a little more handy tools, click Effects, Drop Shadow. Alright, and our drop shadow we want to be black. Where do we put it? Right here. So we want to make it so that way the distance is 0. You don't want it to be sort of far away. When you do it like this creates realistic shadows. I'll go over that in another tutorial, but for today, we just want to make it pop. So distance is 0. The shadow is right on the outline of the object. Spread, 100%. Opacity, 100%. Now we mess around with the size. What the spread does is it makes it so that it looks like it's solid. So say you make it super big like this, right? But you have low spread. It has like a spray paint look, which could be kind of cool for what you're going for. But for this, we want our spread to be all the way up so that it's a nice hard shape. It's not soft. And then you make the size smaller until you got the desired effect. Now how do you have this without this annoying little effects thing here? You want it to look nice. You want it to take up less storage. For those of you who don't know, the max size for a thumbnail on YouTube is 2 megabytes. And if you have real complex art, it'll be more than 2 megabytes. So if you want it to be 2 megabytes or smaller, rasterize layer style. It still has the outline, but it doesn't count that as an effect. That's just the shape in general, alright? So let's move it up here. It's a speech bubble. Let's give him a funny little message. Oh, fub. Alright, let's do this. Adjust the font. Do something nice and fun. How about we go back to our roots? You ever see Spider-Man's Bitch? It's one hell of a cartoon. I definitely recommend watching it right now. JF Rock Solid. 11? What's the color of this? Oh, that's too small. 30's good. Alright. You know, let's click right here before self. Press enter. Center it. No. We want to center the whole damn thing. Center that too. Let's go right here. Now, how do you change the font size after you've already typed it? You decide it's too small? Select the whole thing. Make it just a little bit bigger. 48. How about 60? How's 60 look? That's too big. We don't want that. 48. See, but that's still too small. How about we make our own? 56. Let's see. No. Right there. Just like that. Alright? There you go. We now have properly selected photos, alright? We taught you how to do this. We taught you how to do this. Lord knows we taught you how to do this. And then right here. This right here. Alright guys, you already know this is going to be on Google. Alright, the link's in the description. Alright, you guys already know this is going to be in the description below. The link is to a Google download. You just click it. You click this little up arrow in the corner. Yeah, I can't show it to you, but it's there. And then you download the image, and then you can follow this along exactly. Should I have said that earlier again? Yeah. Or you could just check the description like a good little subscriber. What? You haven't subscribed yet? Ah! You need to fix that, batch. Go subscribe. Anyway, I hope you guys learned something today, and I hope all you YouTubers out there can make some better thumbnails than you could before. That's really it for today's episode. I'll see you guys again in a couple days with a gaming video, and I'll see you guys next week with another Photoshop tutorial. See you on the flip. Hey!